Julie, how is this U.S. team recovering from the final before the final that they won against France?
They're focused. They're laser focused. One of the first questions we asked them was, how do you come off the high of a game like that against France, where it was not just physically demanding, but emotionally as well? And they all referenced the fact that they got in the locker room and they were like, that was amazing, but we haven't done anything yet. Now we recover. So, I mean, the issue is that it's been super hot. We thought Paris was hot. Lyon has been even steamier. Feels about like 100 degrees and humid. It's supposed to cool down for game time tomorrow, but still, it's been a lot to deal with in terms of training for these both teams.
Julie, I'm curious. So much was made of Lindsey Horan's absence in the match against France. Rose Lavelle did not have her best game. Jill Ellis seems to be a little bit off the hot seat. Do you think she goes back to that 11 that worked against France, or could we see Horan back in the opening 11?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know in terms of knocks and injuries. We haven't heard anything. They say they're fully fit and ready to go. Megan Rapinoe had a taped-up right hamstring today. I asked press officer Aaron Heifetz, what does the tape mean? And he's like, she's 33 years old. That's what it means. So I think that what you're going to see is the same 11. I think the only question mark in that lineup, because I don't think they're going to obviously mess with that back line by pushing Ertz back. I think the only question mark, of course, is Horan and whether she feels that she can get more out of her with some fresher legs. But if Sam Mewis feels fine and Rose Lavelle feels fine, I think she's going to go with that same 11.
All right, let's get some perspective here from Ian Darke then. Ian, why in the world is Phil Neville so upset now? Explain this Hotelgate scandal to us.
Well, I think it's all mind games, really, and I think Phil Neville's been around a lot of big matches, remember, when he was a player. I think he's just trying to make sure that this England team don't have the mentality here that getting to the semi-finals was great and they've kind of reached the pinnacle. I think he wants them keyed up. That's why he's saying also, getting to the semi-finals, if we don't get any further, it's a failure. So he wants this team pumped up to go and try and provide the shock and beat the USA. What I would say about England is 2 or 3 years ago, I think they'd have been in awe, maybe a bit intimidated about meeting the USA. Now I think their mentality has changed. I think this is a different England, a stronger, more determined England. They've played the USA in the She Believes Cup. But if you're asking me for a prediction, I still think the USA look at another level from all the teams that I've seen playing in this Women's World Cup. And I think they're going to edge it, though I think it'll be a much tougher game than the France one, actually.
Ian, the British press is really running with this arrogant Americans narrative. Do you believe the American team has behaved arrogantly at this World Cup?
No, I really don't. And I've been around this team for quite a while, as Julie Foudy knows as well. And so I kind of half know the players that you're talking about. Megan Rapinoe, she's out there and she can be political, but she's a nice person, and I think most of the players are quite humble, really, when it comes down to it. But they are being portrayed, it's fair to say, in the British press, as a bit arrogant, because they've pounced on this quote by Ali Krieger, the reserve right back, who says the USA are not only the best team in the tournament, they're also the second best team in the tournament as well. Then there's this Hotelgate thing, which I think is a bit of a storm in a teacup, where the US officials are apparently went to the England hotel to check it out as a possible base while the England team were away training. Phil Neville didn't like that. He's seen something underhand about it, or is he just pretending he's seen something underhand? I think he's just using it as a way to stoke things up a bit.
Julie, want to get a sense of your reaction, but first let's take a look at the odds to advance to the final, and there you can see it. The U.S. are favorites. This Hotelgate, and I'm air quoting here, scandal, Julie, what's been the reaction within the U.S. camp?
Storm in a teacup. I love that from Darke. Storm in a teacup. I would agree with Ian. I think it's been blown out of proportion. The question was posed first to Jill Ellis at the press conference yesterday, and she was basically like, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't me over there. It must have been two of my staff. I don't even know. And my understanding from U.S. Soccer is they got the approval from the English FA to come to the hotel, and apparently Phil Neville didn't know that. So when he gets asked in the press conference, he says, well, I was fine with it. But then as he kept talking, he was like, but really it was a breach of etiquette. And then he kept talking a little more. And really, I don't think I would do something like that. So I don't think it's much to it. And I think there's, we know how the British press is, right, Ian? They like to take these things and run with it. A little Spygate is always good for a game.
To be fair to the reporters, they were only quoting what Phil Neville said, so I wouldn't blame the media for pouncing on it in the way they have it. In their terms, it's a good story, but I'll go back to that phrase. It is a bit of a storm in a teacup. I don't think it's relevant when it comes to the match itself, but I tell you what, there is a bit of needle there between these two countries. There's no doubt about it. The special relationship, I think, is on hold for tomorrow.
Ian, we got your prediction.
Yeah.
Julie, can we hear yours?
Wait, I will add one more thing, Sebi, to that. It's interesting because they posed the question to Jill as more, is this arrogance because you're coming to scout for the final, meaning you already think you're going to be in the final? And for the record, the United States Federation scouts every hotel. In fact, they were in Nice scouting for the third place game as well. So she's like, no, this is what we do. We go out and scout. We don't know where we're going to be next. We got to look at everything. Okay, predictions. I am taking the United States of America 2-1. Darke,
wow.
Who do you got?
Well, I do think the USA will win. I mean, obviously, I'm English, so I'd like to see England do well in this game. I think it's fantastic. They've reached three semi-finals in a row. But hey, look, my head says I've watched this USA team. I don't think I've seen them as commanding as they are right now. I think they've been prepped to concert pitch, and I agree with you, Julie. I think they are going to win this game.
For more, sign up now for ESPN Plus.